it's not like that. He's trying to explain. He's like, are you guys playing with me? I'll never, and then I'm like, no, Yvonne, we're going to the next city. I think we're going to Frankfurt from Hanover. She thought it's like 4 or 5 hours by the van. She thought, and Mona was laughing, hysterical. Mona's like, are you crazy, girl? You crazy? So that's the kind of stuff we dealt with on the road. But let me say this. I think I remember getting a Jovanotti from you when you remixed that Italian thing, that Italian record. And I think that was one of the first records where not just Germany, but now Europe and UK really locked into you. Like, boom. It was like, Mousse T, what is this? Who is this guy? You know how we always say, one record away from that big thing. I think that was an important changing point. That's pre-Horny and all that stuff. You were doing a lot of great stuff. But I think that what the hell's it called again?
L'Ombelico del Mondo.
Del Mondo. And in Italy, they love that record. I remember getting it from you. I remember you asking what I thought of it. And I said, it's hot. The swing, the drums, you had it right. And then you showed me that you getting the Incognito record to mix. And
yes.
But who was the inspiration in the beginning? Because you're in Germany. You're not traveling yet for this house thing. Are you just listening to the records and saying, I want to do this? Or was there DJs there playing? Were you hanging out? What was happening for you to go to this soulful house sound? Because something makes us all target, one moment.
I think, to be honest, Lenny, it's a mixture of both of what you just mentioned. It's basically DJs playing the sound. And to be honest, it's guys like you who did that sound that we just like, we couldn't get enough of it, and obviously, house music wouldn't get played on the radio in Germany. So you had to look for clubs. And that's at one point I met Boris Dlugosch, who is playing at this very prestigious front club, I think the biggest gay club or the coolest gay club in Europe, probably back in the day, in Hamburg. And he had records, they had this amazing like record stores in Hamburg. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? What is this? I didn't know the music. I knew a little bit, and I was getting my fix from the Hanover guys. But basically Hanover, smaller city and stuff, so you had to go to the bigger cities. So it's basically literally, as I said, is the guys, like you, that basically gave us a sound, and we're like, okay, we want to do the same thing. And at the beginning, you probably know it. You start emulating. You go like, okay, how did he do it? Let me copy that. Let me do that. And then down the line, you find your own way how you do stuff.
Right. It's like a roadmap. You listen to somebody else's stuff and you say, we're going to try to go this direction and we're going to do it all. You start to put things in perspective. Right.
Yeah. Which is fine at the beginning. I wouldn't blame anybody. If you come up with your own sound immediately, lucky you. But a lot of people, whether it's Prince, whether whoever, they're all influenced from somebody,
Everybody has that influential person.
Exactly.
For me, it was the disco thing. All the disco records is what we wanted to do.
Lucky guys, man. I mean, I was always, I wouldn't say I envied you guys, but obviously, New York was so, especially now, when all these like new formats like Glitterbox and all these like, they open so many people's eyes, and they give them basically like, all right, you have to look way back in the 70s when it like started. And then, in New York, basically, you had it all there. It was there.
Right. It's our playground.
You were living it, you know what I mean?
Musically, radio-wise, you didn't have to go to the clubs. You heard it on the radio. You knew.
Crazy.
Is around you.
Crazy.
And then it just stopped, Mousse T. Could you imagine that? It's all around you, and then just like someone crashed the car, and it just stopped.
Wow.
Yeah. But you all of you in the EU and in the UK kept that music going. You never said disco died. You just basically, like a piece of clay. You take it and you reshape it. It's clay, but it's differently. Like, you made it to the 80s and the 90s, and then here we are.
But you put it, let's put it that way. You guys put it in the world. And then obviously, like everything, it's basically, it evolves, And then you got the whole house thing, you got the whole techno thing, you have the UK sound, you have the German electronica sound, and then it started. You couldn't stop it. You couldn't hold
No,
it back.
you couldn't stop it. No, you couldn't. So now that you're having these remixes, and I remember going to your club, and I also remember your friend had that jazz club too.
Yes.
That spot.
Yeah. Palo. Yeah, really cool.
Palo. And you took me and he says, "Oh, you're gonna like it, super cool, good people, nice food. It's a great," and it really was. It was one of those spots where I went and heard Roy Ayers. Everybody loves the sunshine. I'm like, and everybody's there and they're all happy.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is our," like you said, "this is like our Paradise Garage. This is our thing. And he's our man." And all that. And I remember him being such an influence, and the Hanover scene, and you having your own club and the offices and all that stuff. But see, now I know for you, it was breaking out of Germany was the big thing. Okay. I knew you were going to do it. We all knew it because nothing was going to stop you. You were pulling records in and making deals. You were doing remixes, and, you were doing what you do, and you were starting to play out regularly and doing everything. Jovanotti's, like I said, was that big breakout record. What's the next thing that happens in your timeline that, we go, whoa, this is for you. Whoa, this is huge,
Again, don't forget, Germany, I think back then as well, was probably the fourth biggest music market on the planet.
Big time.
Yeah, it's just like had a lot of, but musically it was basically, they had their own style, and I was like doing what I do. But then, how it works, basically you do a great mix, you do a great production, whatever, it gets bigger and bigger. Labels notice you, which basically American labels, they have subsidiaries in Germany, Warner Brothers, Universal, Sony, whoever. So they start giving me jobs. Like Jovanotti I did for Mercury back then, which is Universal. And then again, everything way before internet. You do white labels, you send it over the pond, you send it to the UK, whatever. And then you slowly, after a couple of months, you get feedback via fax. Like they fax you, There's no email, no nothing. So that's how the hype machine started back then. It was a very slow process.
Yeah, but I was going to say, how long did that take? Tell them from when you finished the record. How long was that taking for things to really expand?
Month. It's really crazy. Today is 24 hours, maybe even faster, back then month. But it was so organic, it was really good. And then, again, how it works is then they go like, oh, he's cool. And I like this production, whatever. And then you get the UK guys slowly asking for work. And then, at one point, like fast forward, you do like cool underground stuff, but you do like cool remixes on like a bigger scale as well. And then I was at this very important weekend for me. I had a nice studio set up. It was really small, but it was sounding right. I did my thing. My studio, so you've been there.
No, hold on. He has the only console I ever heard before, MyTech.
MyTech, yeah, and I still have it. It's crackling. See? It's a piece of shit, but it sounds wonderful.
Crackling. It was crackling then.
Crackling everything.
It's crackling then. It's now 25 years later. It's still crackling. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, it's a MyTech console, and it was like the previous guys, they did rock on it, but it still works for me, especially now if you combine like analog and digital stuff, but whatever. So I had this important weekend for me, and back then, yes, workaholic, but it just came easy, you just doing it, and like another mix, blah, blah, blah. So I had like 3 days, and I think in these 3 days I was doing a remix for, was it Quincy Jones back then? Quincy Jones, Mr. President, this Coco Jumbo, this very commercial track, but I did like cool mixes. And I'm not sure it was a weekend, maybe I'm tripping, but I did this remix basically, or I'd asked to do this remix for Michael Jackson Ghosts. So it was Sony US, and I was like, oh my God, that's great. This is like, amazing. And
yes, huge.
Yeah, the opportunity was great, but I was still, little Mousse T. I was like, all right, I'm going to do my best. And then again, just think about it. Probably today, having all these like social media, whatever, you would be like on doing selfies with like whatever. Michael Jackson, bigging yourself up. Back then it was just like, look, just let me do the work and let me do the best I can. So I did that. I did like a down tempo, like a radio mix. I did like a club mix. And then I started this dub version. So I said like, because that was basically my thing to do like, I just want the song, I just want to cater a lot of people. And if I do a club mix, I want to make sure that I do a dub mix that gets played in like really cool clubs for sure. So that was my, So I started with that, and then although I was a workaholic, I was working a lot. I was always late. So, and back then there wasn't like we transfer something like via internet. There was the courier waiting 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning to take the DAT cassette to the airport, to the label, So I was like at 5 o'clock in the morning, I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it, to finish this dub mix. So I'm like, look, I already delivered 2 great mixes. That's it. Let me bury the dub mix and probably, revisit it later for something or whatever. So I delivered the mixes, everybody was happy. Month later, we had the studios back in the day in the city center. Now, like 20 years ago, we moved a little outside of the city. So it was a great like 1930s building. We had the studios. There was like a little club we had downstairs. And for this club, I think for the opening, we booked Roger Sanchez.
Yes, I remember.
So I met Roger before, so he was happy to come, and obviously he was there. I was hanging like we did, Lenny, and then we were playing music and stuff, and then I played him some unfinished stuff, and then I played him Horny, the dub of the Michael Jackson record I was doing. It's exactly like how the instrumental of Horny was. I played around with samples, I did the beats, whatever, and then I never finished it. And Roger literally lost it. He was like, oh my God, I need it. Do me an acetate, print it on vinyl. And I was like, okay, really? You like it? And then my partner Errol, he was like, oh my God, we have to do it. But, basically we printed it. It flew out of the window as an instrumental. It really, we sold a lot of records, vinyl. I was very happy about it. And then triggered the music industry to basically already said, okay, what's a track? And then they started bidding on the record. And then that again made us kind of like, all right, if the people already like this as an instrumental, why not try to write a song on top of it? And that's how we basically, finished the whole Horny thing.
Who wrote the song?
It was myself and Errol.
Lyrically too, Mousse T, you wrote the lyrics?
I did the hook line, actually. I did the hook line.
You did? I didn't say. Yes. I didn't know that part.
I did the hook line. Errol is really good in kind of like putting beautiful, senseful meaning into songs by writing amazing verses, and then we kind of straighten it out lyrically and rhythmically. I mean, that's a job as a producer, but I'm good with hook lines. I can't really write, full songs, just musically. But like for lyrics, I'm good with hook lines.
So I'm going to presume that you always heard that hook in your head, even though when you did those samples and you were playing around, you kind of knew what that hook line was going to be. You just
that came later, Lenny. That really came later. The track was what it was, and then basically we had, since we knew Inaya Day from our work for Keep Pushing for Boris, I said to Inaya, look, Inaya, because I didn't want to mess up the record by putting a full song on it. I said, like, probably it's not right, but let me just put a chorus on it. Let me just go like, I'm horny, whatever. So we recorded just the chorus without the verses. Inaya did that. And then we're like, all right, that feels okay, but somehow, we want to do more. And then Inaya wasn't available anymore after she did that. So she was gone. And then we got Emma in, from the UK. So it's like basically Inaya did the hook line. Then with Emma, we wrote the song. Errol wrote the lyrics. Emma recorded it, and then somehow we had this patchwork, which worked.
And the rest is history, because next we see you in the video all fly, and
Crazy.
that MTV video, and you're glossy looking, and you look like a super producer, sex bomb guy. Horny Mr. himself went from, you really like it, to, oh my God, we're going to a gold record now.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, Lenny, I mean, it all sounds cool now, but back then I was so I mean, obviously, we had like music stations, we had MTV in Germany and stuff, and they always had like the coolest sessions, whatever. So they would come with you, when you film, when you play at a club, they would film you like in a cool way. But when you have this pop record, all of a sudden, and people start turning on the streets, when they see you, it totally intimidated. I was like, all right, it really didn't feel good. It really did not feel good. It was basically, I was almost like, I can't have this. I don't want to, this kind of, this is too pop for me. I want to be cool. I want to be underground. This is too much, And luckily enough, because, this is not a contradiction. You can do a big pop record and still do underground records, I mean, this is, all of us kind of did it, what I mean, which is great. So, yeah, it was a great experience, and then basically I learned to work with that. And to be honest, I'm now very thankful. I mean, this is basically the same thing what we're doing right now. It's like doing MTV back in the day, exactly the same thing. You know what I mean? It's fantastic. It gives us a platform. People get to know us, and they get to know the story from the source. Which is great.
Yeah, I mean, nobody can lie now. We can't make this up. I can't lie. There's nothing to lie about. We're actually hearing the real story, the way it happened, and even hearing you say that you were stressed and nervous. Because I do remember that about you. You were a very sweet guy, always very humble, very organic and real. And I remember you asking the questions to us when we heard the records, do you really like it? And you said, I really want you to tell me the truth.
Yes.
I remember that. And then I said, well, how can we not tell you the truth then? If you're asking it, because.
But to be honest, my comfort zone was, and probably still is, the studio. There I'm at home, and there where you really get the best out of me. I mean, now, with all the experience that we have, and obviously, with the DJ gigs, which is a vital part of what we do, it's another extension of the studio, I would say. But I was depending on what you guys think. I was really depending on that.
But did you ever think an underground record like that would go pop?
No, and I still consider. I mean, I always kind of like, with a twinkle in my eye, I said it was a great accident, the record, because it wasn't planned in anything. And I remember, and the journey was so beautiful because, we took it to Miami, to the music conference. So Louis was caning the instrumental, the whole, what was the club again where we always played on the corner?
Oh, when they did the Magic Sessions party.
Yes. So
right now,
he was playing the instrumental, and when I heard that, I was like, wow. So it went from being a really, really cool record that all, Louis and everybody was playing, to a pop record. So, you could really see, it's a good example to see, what can happen to a record. And today, I think it's okay, if people do cool records and they go big. But back then I was feeling like, oh man, hopefully that's okay, and it was, and I don't know, we're probably going to speak about Sex Bomb later, but I was lucky to
talk about it.
Sorry?
We are going to talk about it because people are asking me all week, make sure he talks about it. I'm like, of course I'm going to have him talk about it. What do you think?
Yeah, okay.
Mousse, I'm going to let you go now. Listen, have a good night.
But let me tell you a cool story, because it really opened my eyes that, Horny was what it was. It was a big success. I'm very grateful for it, and it's a classic, and I'm proud. Obviously, when you have a first record, you kind of go, the record company goes like back then, because, it was on Peppermint Jam, but we had a bigger distribution, and they go like, all right, Mousse T, what we have to do now, you have to deliver an album with 13 Hornies on it.
13, right.
You know what I mean? They go like one, it's a blueprint, so we want 13 of those, so the album's going to fly. And I was like, okay, that's logical. And I've never played anybody, and I probably have to dig it out, because I think there's some cool tracks there, but I never played what I did, because I said like, all right, I'm going to give it a chance. But I said like, no, this is too cheap for me, and that's too much the easy way. So I did my first album was a funk and soul album, like totally the opposite way, Gourmet de Funk. But that said, I was having the chance to work with people, and we knew Tom Jones' son, who was his manager, Mark Woodward. So we did this. I did this really cool groove. It was like a blues thing, and then Erroll did like this really cool song. It was called Sex Symbol. The song was called Sex Symbol, and we were like, all right, yeah, this is cool. But then I was like, yeah, Sex Symbol doesn't, it doesn't feel right. So Sex Bomb, and then I was doing that Sex Bomb, and we're like, all right, great. So that's how we write songs. You go in the lab, and then piano and beats and all that stuff. So we did the song. We got Emma from Horny. We got her in to do the demo for Sex Bomb. And then I said, like, look, this is a great song. I would love to have it on my album. Why don't we send it to Tom Jones and ask him to sing it? If he loves the song, maybe could be a nice little thing, nice little try. So we send it to him. Literally, I don't know if it was a day or 2 days later, they called immediately, said like, wow, what a song. Tom would love to do it. And then basically I flew to London, having the DAT with the song, like the digital audio tape. We met in the studio. I was like, oh my God. Told him like what kind of a big fan my mom is and all that stuff.
I was going to say that. That's right, your mother.
Yeah.
Your mother.
See the turnaround now. Me hating Tom Jones's music when I was a kid, to kind of like going like, oh my God, he's one of the greatest singers on the planet, and then being in the studio with him. So we did the song, and then back then in the studio we didn't have like too much options, kind of like for like pitching and all that stuff. So what we did, because Tom is a pro, he can sing in any key, but he knows his sweet spots. So we did he did a take on the original key, and then he was like, Mousse T, I can take this higher. And I was like, okay, how do I do that? And then luckily enough, there was an Eventide harmonizer. Now I'm getting a bit nerdy. So I put the whole music through that harmonizer and pitched it a couple of notes up. And Tom did an amazing take. And he was like super cool to work with. And basically that's how I did the key change in the song, because for the first part I used his original recording, and then there's a little like chord transition in the like towards the end goes a da 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 sex bomb, and then I use the second part. So sometimes you're just lucky, you just do stuff in the studio, and then it turns out to be a great element for the arrangement. And then what happened? Basically, Tom goes, "Look, I know you want to use that song for your album, but can I have it for my album?" And I was like, "Look, you're the dude. Do whatever you feel like." So
So that modulation was something, because he wanted to do the modulation of how many? Do you remember how many half steps you went up?
4.
That's a lot, Mousse T.
Yeah, 4. So it was literally and I didn't know that I was. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that from beforehand that I would. And he went up 4, and the I mean that shows you what kind of a singer he is. He goes easily from, I just did a great track from like 4 semi steps lower, but let me take that 4 up. Easy for him, crazy.
Yeah, because back in the day, to do that, you had to do it through the Eventide. There was actually, this is a rack mount unit that a lot of rock people use. And what they would do is they would put the vocals in there, one voice, and it'd be able to take it and make 4 voices. And be able to pitch, like a choir. You do some cheating. So he said, I need it up higher. So that's more in his range. So the quickest way was put the whole track through and just dial it up.
It sounded really dodgy, but to put the whole track in there, but it helped me to record his vocal in the right key. And then, that's what I wanted to say, Lenny. Just let me finish. Okay, so Sex Bomb, yeah, that track blowing up everywhere and stuff. And I had a very, very dear friend of mine who I already did business with a long time ago, because he was a friend of the label. He signed Horny for the UK. Simon Dunmore. We all know him from Defected Records, Glitterbox, everything. One of my dearest friends. I love him. Simon called me up and said, like, us having a mutual success with Horny previously. Mousse T, congratulations on the, I don't know, if we're number 2 or number 1, whatever, congratulations, but this is the end of your coolness. Lenny, he scared the shit out of me.
What do you mean? Wait.
Yeah. He said, "This is the end." You know,
You're
it's
not cool no more.
record.
You're not cool.
Yeah, exactly. This is like such a big record. This is
Can I tell you something? Could you imagine if that would have happened now with social media? That whole social media machine at that time, what that would have done for you.
Crazy, right?
Craziness.
Crazy. Yeah. But he scared me. I knew what he was
serious?
saying.
Was he serious when he said that?
He was probably serious when he said it, but obviously he's such a, he's a music lover. He knows, but back then, that's what I was saying. We're doing good records and we were hoping to be successful, but we're always doing it on this like cool little we're underground, we're house music, whatever. And this record kind of like, just stuck out there, and then it kind of did something else, and although I did vinyl on my label as well with like cool dub mixes on the flip side and stuff. And Simon was like, "Look, congratulations, this is huge, but this is the end of your coolness." And he really scared me. And then, but through Sex Bomb, I basically developed that I would love to explore more musically, not only in house music and dance music, but like everywhere, which I did. And plus, I discovered you're only as cool as your last record. So I can do 1 million Sex Bombs. I mean, hopefully, but whatever. But if you come back and do a really cool house track or whatever, you're that dude.
So you must have good potent power to be able to be a sex.
Exactly.
You must have good potent power, my friend. He stays hard into the groove.
Exactly. hard. No, but Lenny, really, but Sex Bomb was written because we had Tom Jones in mind. And for us, obviously him, at concerts, the ladies always, they bring their underwear and throw it on the stage and all that stuff.
For us, pussycat, pussycat.
Exactly. So that's the idea. The song was written about the sex bomb Tom Jones.
But then you got Simon Dunmore at that time at A&M because he wasn't defected yet. And he just came off a cool tempo and he calls you. And I can imagine what that phone call must have felt like, because I've talked to him many times and done work with him as well. That's a blow. It's an ego blow. It scares the crap out of you because you're saying, well, if he's thinking like that, what are the other A&R people thinking?
Yeah.
Pre to the whole social media game. Pre to, that's another thing that I wanted to ask you. How do you handle this change? You're no longer an underground guy now. You're a commercial producer, somewhat. Right. So how do you handle now? And you're not, people are maybe afraid to step to you because they're afraid they can't maybe afford you at the time, or, because this changes a lot of people's views. That first phone call, what was part after that? What happened? What was this? You're also drinking champagne and you're in the Alps skiing. That I know. And enjoying yourself. But at the same time, things are changing around us too. Oh, most importantly, you must remember this, Mousse T. There was no commercial market to how house music went from the street level to that pop idol level.
Right.
Remember, we wrote that as we went. That did not. There was nobody to look back at. There was nothing to look back at, right?
But yeah, totally. And to be honest, we always had that one big house record every year. Whether it was Gypsy Woman, whether it was a Free, whether it was the Stardust or whatever. There was always like this big. Finally, CC Peniston. There was always this big one standout track, and it was great. But again, I think we're coming back to what we said very early in our discussion, that I'm just wishing for every artist to have a moment of success in his life, because it really helps you, first of all, to consolidate and like to be able to continue what you do. But it opens your eyes. It opens your eyes and pats you on your shoulder and says like, look, man, well done. Just keep on doing. That's so important. And to be honest, right now, and I admit, I was very cautious about this. Oh man, hopefully it's like underground enough and cool enough. I'm a long time not anymore. I just go like, look, just do great records, whether they're commercial, which actually it's a compliment. A lot of people hear it and like it. It's a great compliment. But just do high quality, whatever it is.
So it made your life a lot easier to transition and keep that level. Now, as after the Sex Bomb, you've had all the successes, of course, and you produced so many, things. You even you transcended into the television screen too as part of your career.
Yes,
being a judge, kind of like the Simon Cowell of Germany, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, on a way small, but it was basically Pop Idol for.
For a better word, in the fourth largest market in
exactly. But you know what? Another thing happened there, because obviously, you do that, you get great offers, and you think, look, this is a great tool to get more people interested in my music. And I learned one more thing, that it just done for me. It didn't, it didn't translate. The people, they got to know me, and they said, like, as a personality, they said, oh, he's a cool guy, blah blah blah. But it didn't bring me one like more sold record. So it's really those kind of concepts, at least in Germany, because I know in the UK and the US, and that's what I love you guys for. You take it way more, I don't know, serious, professional. Because we have people coming out like Jennifer Hudson and like really cool, amazing artists who basically have a long life in entertainment. And in Germany, you have always the winner of the show. In next year, nobody knows who she or he was, and that's a bit sad.
So it's pretty much like having a used car lot. It's like in and out. Next year, next car.
Exactly.
Wow. So from the Sex Bomb era, you're DJing, you're living life. That's in the 2000s. And of course, analog vinyl business ends and the digital world begins for all of us. What's your transition like at that time? What do you do? Because you're part of the analog. I'm sorry, my friend. You're part of the tape generation. You're part of the vinyl generation. You're all part of everything. What do you do?
To be honest, yeah, but I consider us to be very lucky because, Lenny, as you just said, we know all these times and we can still handle that, but we're open enough and we know the new times too. We're a very lucky, very cool generation. So it's cool. We're not, and I'm not telling anybody, to play vinyl or to only play this or whatever. It's up to everybody, for me, the music is very, very important. But as you said, we start building the company. I was lucky enough to have two big records, which obviously helped us funding the company and make it bigger and make it broader as well in terms of like businesses. And but at the same time, as you said, we were coming from having our own distribution, vinyl, CD, whatever, to this point where we had to kind of face that our people tell us that, like, oh, by the way, you're losing like, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of euros a year or whatever, because people are copying your stuff online. And we're like, what is online? Where, how, this is online. How does it work? What
I mean? What do you mean online? Like, right.
Yeah, exactly. What do you mean?
Online, what?
And that's how we got to learn to kind of like deal with the business. I mean, at the very beginning it was kind of like probably it wasn't like a cool thing anyway, but a lot of like law companies, they're kind of like this, they were smelling business. So they say like, they're contacting us saying like, look, people are stealing your music online. Just give us the mandate. And then, we sue everybody up and down. And we said like, look, don't sue them, but at least, we want to tell them not to do it. You know what I mean? Just, tell them. And then, it kind of got very, very kind of not nice. It was kind of like it was strange, but I mean, I think we got the transition okay, but I have to admit that we weren't the first ones to do it. You know what I mean? We're looking at, okay, let's see how this all translates. And a story that I heard, I think it's true, from one of the former managing directors from Universal Germany, who basically were they owning Philips, the company, because Philips in Holland, they developed the CD player. And Philips was owning Universal, sorry. And the minute they developed the CD player, basically like a a tool where you can copy music on and with. They sold Universal. So you see, they developed that, and then the minute they understood what it would mean that you could copy music, whatever, they said like, all right, our music brand, Universal, we will sell. We don't need that anymore.
We were devastated.
Yeah.
All of us were. I'm sitting here just remembering that news that Philips just put out, they released the CD recorder. Just like that. Just like the said. Within a month later, Universal was sold.
Yeah.
We were like, and they all said the same thing to us. Oh my God, our music is over. That's what I remember them saying to us. And I was like,
that's crazy, right?
What do you mean over?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be able to record, digitally copy everybody's stuff now. There'll be no way of holding it down anymore. It was like, that was
another. I mean, the record industry, they earned so much money with the CD. I mean, you know it, Lenny. The CD is so cheap to produce. You know, they earned so much. I mean, it was golden ages. You know what I mean? And now it's like other ages. But I'm not condemning everything. It's basically about we have to find our ways to do it, to deal with it.
So did you have to work hard to bring Mousse T's profile from this older world into the social media when the social media thing began? Because we went through the transition of LimeWire and all that fun stuff that we were able to get basically drink from the well for free without having the music. That's how you can drink all day and nobody's there to take a dime, right?
Exactly.
So now we're all sitting there going, oh my God. Then record shops around us are closing. HMVs, Virgin Records, all the big Sony 3MV owed thousands, tens of thousands to record labels. They were going into bankruptcy. That changes. And then all of a sudden, what comes from these ashes is now this thing called MySpace and the beginning of the social media.
True. Yeah.
Remember, it was like a phoenix arising. What the hell is MySpace? Does anybody remember what MySpace is? But we were all having to figure out how to create a .com site.
Exactly.
Because we all felt, why do we need that? They know who we are, right?
Exactly.
MySpace is start. So how does that work for you guys? What did you wind up doing in transition into this? Did you have a company take care of it, or were you all over that stuff, figuring it out?
I mean, back in the day, I think we had quite a good staff. I think we were like, a little over 20 people. So we were taking care of that at the beginning ourselves. But obviously, seeing like, what friends or like colleagues were doing and stuff. And I mean, the good thing is, if you have a music catalog, and that's what it always comes back to, whether it's analog or digital, whatever, people somehow one day will discover you. They will discover your music and your work and something. So, that's what we did. And obviously we did. Actually, now that you're saying, I'm probably going to see if my MySpace account still works to see what my profile photo looks like.
You forgot about it, right? You probably forgot about it.
Totally.
Yeah, well, we laugh about this, but does anybody know what MySpace is? No. They're like, no. That's what that was. That was the first initial reaction of getting friends pre-Facebook.
But how cool that obviously, with us, obviously we were meeting through our music at gigs, mutual friends. They were like hooking us up at the Miami Music Conference. And now you have this other level of like, being able to kind of like, type in house music, hashtag, whatever. And it shows you, oh man, I always wanted to hit up such and such, whatever. And then there you go, crazy.
Right? Crazy. Before smartphones, it was like, yo, I got the new Ericsson phone. Right? Yeah, right, dong. And then it was like, then it went down to how small your phone could be. It was like,
exactly.
This is how big the phone was.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like this big.
We sound old, Lenny. We sound so old.
But it's okay. We have to teach them.
Exactly.
Let me just remind everybody. As much as everybody thinks this is a green screen behind me, it's not a green screen. I still have my studio. But like Mousse T, because I've been watching him pushing his packs, which he'll talk about in a moment, He's put together music packs and stuff that he does, his sounds. You want to be like Mousse T, you can buy his sounds and all that. But we're also very cutting edge too. We're very techie. We're not left behind. Don't think we're sitting here like in our cradle chair going, well, we used to do it with the knee.
The cradle rocking chair.
Yeah, we're sitting with the rocking chair. Well, we used to, with our needles and our vinyl. Yes, we love vinyl. I love vinyl. My back doesn't love vinyl, but I love vinyl. I mean, it was, you were special when you had vinyl. Like, especially when you had access to people like Mousse T. They were mixing records and he's giving you DAT tapes right from his mixing desk, here. And you're cutting plates and you're playing stuff way because you believed in what this guy was making. It wasn't a matter of you were doing it because you were just friends. You still had integrity. You wanted to be one of the first to blow up a record. I'll never forget when he said that. And he mentioned Roger Sanchez. Not right after when he brought Roger Sanchez to Park House in Hanover, I had came to stay with them and work with them and stuff and go on tour. He said this magic words to me. He said, Roger loved the record. And he didn't call it horny. He just said, here. And I remember hearing it and I went, wow, this is dope. I remember saying that to you. This is really dope, dude.
Wow. Yeah.
And you were like, you really like it? Roger said it was good. So he was always a record promoter. And he didn't even realize he's promoting, but he's promoting. He's telling me that. And of course, if Roger has it, then by God means I have to have it now. Exactly. I want to know what it is. And he's like, what do you think? I says, I think this thing's going to blow up. I remember telling you that. Yo, this thing's going to blow up. I remember playing it in New York and everybody asking me every time I play it, what the hell is this?
Wow.
It's his record. And then it got picked up and then the rest was history. But that was our social media. He relied on us, from me to him to another person, to start to create the buzz. Yes. And that's how the buzz began.
Yeah. And how it works. Obviously, you're a solo personality as a DJ, but you play to hundreds of thousands of people during a year.
Yeah.
So you are the best promoter ever. That's how it worked. You play to people, they go home. In the best case, they go to the record shop the next day and say like, oh, I heard this record, it goes like this or whatever. Great. That's how it worked.
That's what I'm trying to explain to everybody. Because now they watch you in the studio and you do, and I've seen you do it. And I am also guilty as charged. We're in the middle of making a record and we want to get that feeling of hype. Come on, Mousse T, you do it. You're like, hello, hi, my name is Mousse T. And right now, I'm working on blah, 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 Duran, and coming off tour, and it sounds so fabuloso.
Yeah, but that's what you said. I mean, obviously, we guilty as charged, yes, but it's genuine. You're in the studio, you have this beat, you have this feeling. There's nobody around you. Go like, oh my God, and then you go like this, and people really like it, which I like, because I could post you like a, sitting somewhere in the sun with an espresso, go like, oh, life is beautiful, fantastic, but hey, who cares? There's way more beautiful ladies doing that, where everybody goes like, okay, great, let me give him a like. But if we do what's close to us and authentic to us, with us, where the people go, yes, we know what he's doing. Those guys are producing in the studio. Oh my God, we're going to get a glimpse of what they're doing right now. I love that. And I love the feedback. I love doing it, to be honest. It's great.
You need it, like all of us do. We are crowd pleasers. We live off the excitement that comes from the people. So if the people give you that roar, you feel like, I don't care how many gold records you've held and the things you're involved. There's nothing like crowd response. Come on, you know that.
True. Which was a big mistake.
What do you mean mistake? What do you mean?
Not mistake. Sorry, which was a big problem last year. With not having.
With COVID. Yeah, no.
Yes, not to be. That's. I mean, now that you say it, it really. It's. I feel it. It's like you couldn't. You could have. kind of a lot of followers on socials, but there's nothing like the direct response. Nothing.
No, I know. And you know something? Oh, so, on this timeline of Mousse T's, okay. So, you have the apex of great records and great productions, and you're doing what you're doing and running a life, trying to balance everything. You get on German television, you start becoming a celebrity, because you are a celebrity. So, you're next to as close to Hollywood as without being in Hollywood movies. But
exactly,
we're watching
German Hollywood.
You're watching you on TV. It's kind of cute. I was like, go Mousse T. Like,
right.
Like, listen to you. Like, wow. Where are you going now? I mean, put COVID aside. Let's talk about pre-COVID. What was the plan of action in your mind? Like, where are some of the things that you need to see come to fruition? Like, you need to see this. Success is done. We know that. So this is not about success anymore. This is about fulfillment of your bucket list. The things that, you say to me, this is important to me. What is it now?
Being an artist, obviously, there's always, although, we had a couple of really cool records and probably even big records or something, but there's always this, look, I just want to do great music. I want to do, whether it's big or small, whatever. I'm hunting for the next great beat or something. That's really what I want to do, for a long time. Very important. And to be honest, like whatever I achieved so far, I mean, I'm very grateful. But it was half, I don't know. There was a lot of like luck or destiny or whatever. But I never had a master plan, to be honest. The only plan that we mutually as a team, as a company had, we want to build a music catalog, because we know that the music catalog with your work, your body of work is the worth of what you actually do. So we're doing that. Apart from that, I think I'm really, I want to work with more people, because I know, you can always see with stuff happening around you, time is limited. I'm not getting panicky or something, not at all, but I want to work. I want to get out there, work with different people, whether it's the house music genre or whatever. That's what I really want to do, and what I really looking forward, like in the near future. And I'm very interested about new technologies. It's like it's very, as you said, I wouldn't say we slept on MP3s or getting digitalized or whatever. We didn't sleep on it, but back then, obviously, it's a process to digest, but now, with the possibility of, like, for instance, NFTs, I love it. I love the concept on it, where you go, like, you have visual art, you don't have to own a piece of, don't have to own the Mona Lisa, but you can have the digital form of a Mona Lisa in your screen, or probably only own a pixel of the Mona Lisa. It's a concept, a mind blowing. I mean, I love the possibilities which we have out there. And the good news is, for all of our music making friends out there, music will always be relevant. Always. Whether the new companies, the new record companies, maybe in the future, there may be Vodafone, there may be Google, there may be these. Probably most of them are already, but they are using music to entertain everybody. Mercedes-Benz as a car company, at one point, Tesla, they're going to have self-driving cars. So what do they need to do? They have to entertain the people inside the car.
You mean media?
Exactly. So these are the modern new companies. And the good thing is there will always be a need for music, which is great for us.
Something came in my mind when I wanted to ask too, as I remember. I remember when you were stepping back into the house game again, because you didn't leave it, but you had to kind of, like, even myself, we had to redevelop our image to today's standards. Was that tough for you to have to do again? Like, it's like almost a reset, a start. Or did you just embrace and say, okay, I'm going to jump in this, whatever happens, happens? Was the attitude?
Yeah, I think it was kind of that attitude. I mean, we have our record company is basically, Peppermint Jam is a house label, since '93.
Correct. Yes.
So, but that said, obviously we have the label where we where I release my music, but we sign a lot of people. And obviously there's always trends, they come and go and whatever. And as a label, obviously you have to, as a professional, you have to see which trends are what's happening musically, whatever. And with Peppermint Jam, obviously we had times where we could this doesn't feel right for the label. So we're gonna be quieter for a minute. You know what I mean? We're not gonna be that loud, or probably we even had releases that I probably wouldn't even release anymore or wouldn't sign anymore for the label. If I would be now, I would be more like straight and say like, look, we're just gonna pause it out. And as a producer, it's the same thing. Obviously, I had this great success at the beginning of the 2000s, and then I wouldn't say I forgot about taking care of myself musically as a producer or as an artist, but I was like producing for a lot of people, and which was great and a great experience. But I kind of that paused what I was basically loved doing, which is like great house tracks. So, at one point I was like, all right, I kind of felt I'm ready for it. And honestly, I felt as well that musically there was stuff happening again. And again, it was for people like Simon Dunmore, who at one point, we all were feeling the same thing. That he said, like, look, he's doing parties with his labels, defected in Ibiza for ages. And he said, like, look, man, this doesn't feel right. It's like very kind of generic, and I don't, I want to do something else. I want to invite my favorite DJs to play and do something else. And then they got this Glitterbox thing going, which was like 216 or something. I don't remember. And and then you could feel something as it wasn't necessarily the disco thing, but high quality music to a very, very broad kind of like gender free, if you want to say so, crowd, age free crowd. And it was almost timing wise the same timing where I said like, look, I'm feeling this again. Let's do house music again.
Right. And I always say that because you need something to take you there. You need a forum. You may not agree with the forum, but you need some place to be able to feel like that this is going to work.
Right.
I'll tell you, everyone, I'll let you on a little secret. I lost interest too. We all kind of did. You're starting to see EDM music is constantly hitting the market, and you're going, what happened? We had all this beautiful music and it just no longer accepted. But then Generation X and Y found disco. Then they wanted to know what house music was. This is the crazy part.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know for people like Mousse T. They want to know people like Steve Curley. And they want to know Marshall Jefferson or Roger Sanchez or Louis Vega or myself or Tony Humphries. They want to know everybody. They want to know, and that was a difference than the generations before, because the generations before were told through radio and through music videos what they were going to listen to. That was the difference. The internet allowed you to go and look at everything now. We could find out as much as what is there about you in Wikipedia.
For that reason, to be honest, times are better for music. You're totally right. Obviously, it's and it's great to see that vinyl is on the rise again. We probably never will do the figures again that like we did in the 90s. But like in terms of if you want to find something obscure, whatever, you hit Google, you hit YouTube, you hit Spotify, whatever. It's obviously you have like promoting factors as well on Spotify where certain playlists they have like certain ways to run it, which is fine. But people will find your music. They will find your music nowadays.
Oh, yeah. Our music is, if it's not ripped from vinyl, it's there.
Yeah.
There is almost everything is available now. It's crazy. Yeah. Well, Mousse T, one last question, because I think you covered everything. What kind of car are you driving now? Is it a Rolls?
No, it's not it's Lenny, I'm how do you call that in English? Like a guy who likes, I love the beautiful things in life, but I don't need to own them. I love looking at a nice picture, at a beautiful human being, whatever. But at one point, obviously, as I said before, sometimes people go to you and say like, look, or something happens where you pat on your shoulder and say like, well done. And for me, at one point, I owned cool cars in my life, like old cars. Yeah, when I never could actually afford it. And the last car I bought was in 2009. It was a Maserati, a Quadruporte, which is a beautiful piece of art. If you know a little bit about cars, it's the last design that Pininfarina, the famous Italian designer, he did Ferraris, everything. And actually, in my car, a Ferrari motor is crazy. And the interior and everything, I mean, the Italians just can do it better. But that said, every German car, like in terms of electrical or like convenience, is probably better than the Maserati. But the Maserati from design is the most sexiest car I know.
Let me tell everybody this quick little anecdote. Mousse T bought, when we were together in Germany, I said to Mousse T, I never, ever drove on the Autobahn.
Oh, yeah.
And I forget what city we were in. And we had to get back to Hanover. And he says to me, you never drove on the Autobahn? I said, never drove on the Autobahn. Handed me his Mercedes keys. He says, drive back to Hanover.
Exactly.
That was a Mercedes. I forget. Is it a 190E at that time you had?
I think so.
Yeah, the smaller Mercedes. But I was able to get that car up to about 140 miles per hour.
Easy.
Which was easy. He did some modifications to the engine, and I was actually able to experience driving super fast on the German Autobahn. For Americans, you know how slow we drive in America. It's like,
exactly. Which I like. I love the art of cruising. I love it.
And all of a sudden, he said to me, "Here's the keys." It's like, really? He's like,
I almost forgot about that. Yeah,
he's
right.
like, drive my car. Come on. Don't be stupid. Go ahead. Drive my car. I said, don't be stupid.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah. Oh, man.
I'll never forget that. I'll never forget. I told that story. He says, Mousse T let me drive his car 3 hours back. I never got to drive in Germany until I drove your car. I was like, wow, this is so, I've never been able to get that kind of speed on a freeway. We never get you. I would have been arrested for what I did in your, he said,
right.
What he said to me was, you see the round circle? When it says it goes down to 100 kilometers or 80, just take it down. So I would be watching circle.
Exactly.
Mousse T, you are a giant. You never give up. You're too gosh damn talented to ever give up in this game. I
need to come back more often because you say so many nice things, so flattering. It's beautiful, man. Seriously, it's beautiful.
I may ask you someday for a favor. You never know. But, no, I mean what I say. When I ask people to come on our show, I mean what I say, and I want to bring the best out in what you do. And people don't really know these things unless you're in our world. And I'm giving them a vision through our eyes of what we're experiencing. Everything is not champagne, wishes, caviar, dreams. There's moments that we're not happy with each other too, but we work through it. Deals don't go right. Sometimes certain things go wrong, but we always try to come back together because it is business at times and people don't understand the replications of signing certain deals and things.
Right.
But you know what? You seem to be, like I said, you have that sexual bomb potent power that here's one last one for everybody. So the Larry Levan way, as everybody remembers that the Paradise Garage thing was going on. Red Bull Music Academy took the street of the Paradise Garage and they closed it off. And for some reason, I'm on the side and I hear my name from the crowd trying, hey, Lenny! And I turn around and there's Mousse T. And of course I go run over and I tell that security, let him in.
Yeah, you got me in there because I think that was the inauguration of the Larry Levan way. Yeah, exactly. And I heard about it. I was in New York. I said, look, whoever, whatever, I'm just going to go there. And Lenny was there. And obviously, I was, I didn't know how to get in. And Lenny was there and he was like, look, man, come in.
Security.
You hooked me up big time.
I always do. And I love my friends. And I have to say, they always say to me, the fan mail says, you always say they're all friends. Mousse T, come on. you have the same problem. We all are together all over the world.
We can't help it, right?
How do you not helping that? We have secrets that we don't talk about, things that happen.
Yeah.
Like they say, what stays in Vegas is in Vegas, right? So
Exactly.
we don't always expel everything we say. But when I say he's a friend or these people are true friends, you people really are friends. Like you said, we know each other 30 years. That's a long time.
And to be honest, Lenny, again, I mean, thanks so much for having me here at the show. But I love this because obviously you can, this is like, I hope, that people watching this, they kind of like take something and maybe get inspired or something, because it's one thing to nerd out, which I love doing, it's like the studio tutorials, and we can do, which is one side of the story, because, the other side of the story is a personal story. It's a story of people you hook up with. It's this experience you go through together, how you kind of help each other, how you build your careers on, on each other's backs and all that stuff. And that's important too in your career, I think,
100%. Like I keep saying over and over, it's not all the positive stuff too. It's what people really appreciate most about these type of shows is that how you fall and how you rise. For some people, it's been a rocky road, and how they come out of that rocky road to find, that place again where they say, I can appreciate where I'm at today. True. For some people, it's drugs. Sometimes everybody has a story, good or bad, but they have a story, and it should be told.
Definitely. And we spoke about TV formats previously, like about something like Pop Idol and stuff. And it's exactly what you said, Lenny, because it's, music plays a little role, but it's not about the music. The main star in that show are the emotions. They, as you said, they want to see people rise. They want to see people fall. They want to see people laugh. They want to see people cry. They want to see that's what the shows are about. It's entertainment.
Reality shows, all reality. Big Brother, Big Sister, my big fat 600-pound wife.
Exactly, same concept. And the music always, it's like it plays a role, but it's like it's minor role. Yeah,
that's the one thing that upsets me sometimes, Mousse T, is that the music has become more of the business card than the actual driving force.
Right.
Seems like more like today. The difference from when we were coming up from what they have today, you can have millions of followers and make horrible music and be praised for it. But yet on the other side, you can make fabulous music that is absolutely off the chain and get no social interaction with.
Yes, but never underestimate the power of a great track.
No, but I'm saying we all say it. We want away from that great track, but for the kind of work that you have put in back in the day to what we have to do now, before it was you were in the lab working night and day to make great records. You let the records speak. The records would tell the world what you were doing and how good you really are.
I think that didn't change though, Lenny. It's still the same, we're still in this, probably not every day, because obviously, people have families, they have lives and all that stuff, but it's the same concept. I know, when I lock you in the studio and say, like, I see you in the morning, you're going to do that damage. You know what I mean? You're going to work your ass off, and then, you're going to do that record which speaks to people, which I think that the audience, the audience is clever. We should never underestimate music loving people. Like, so, they know exactly when they hear a great track, it's the same. The work is the same, it didn't change.
You have, just so you can wrap this up, you have your Mousse T package sounds. How long did that take you to do? Set that up. I see you telling the packs.
The sample pack. Yeah. So basically, what I had done in the day, back in the day, basically, I did a couple of like sample CDs, stuck a couple of grooves, and I did it with this guy in Hanover. He kind of like, he manufactured, and that's literally like almost over 20 years ago. And then now, recently, like last year, this a friend of mine from CR2 Record, he hooked me up, Mark, and said like, look, why don't we do like a sample pack? There's a lot of people, who basically not only they want to know how you do things, what kind of sounds you use, whatever. So, for that, for instance, we did like great tutorials so you can have a glimpse. But basically what I do with my sounds, with the Mytech console that you said, I always kind of like mold, even if I sample a bass drum myself, I always try to mold it my way and make it my way and like already manipulate the sound how I have it. So the good thing was a sample pack. You get like all these sounds delivered, which already are basically ready to go. You can basically use them as all my handcrafted sounds that probably of some of my productions, which would be fun. And it's great, and that's my connection with other producers, and somebody, sometimes producers who go like, look, I admire what you do. How can you do it? And I go like, look, listen to this. And that's maybe the first step.
So before I let you go, can you give some people have been asking me this question. I could see it coming up on the chat. Your workflow, like what's your way of working in the studio? Are you working with Logic? Are you working with, are you back to sequencing on a sequencer? How is your workflow set up?
Sure. So basically, we have this beautiful building in Hanover. It's called the Peppermint Pavilion, which is like a music oasis. And I have basically one of my studios is my private little oasis. And we have a big like tracking and recording room, which has like an SSL console, with like Pro Tools and everything, which is great for live recording. But that's it. So when I need it, I use it for strings, for big stuff. But my studio, basically, my workflow is this has to be like 30, 35 years old Mytech console, analog console. I think it's a German company, but you can use any analog console. It's going to sound good. My DAW is Logic. I'm a Logic man. Sometimes I use Ableton to get like really cool effects out of the Ableton because I really like the effects, but I don't really use the sequencer or the ranging possibilities. So I do that. And that in comparison, I still do my beats in Logic. I either program them or basically I put like, just put like audio files like as a kick drum, whatever. I do that. And I try to make as many mistakes as possible because out of mistakes, quirky, funny stuff happens. And that's great. And that in comparison, in conjunction with a great groove, gives you a great track. So I got that. I have a great selection of outboard and keyboards, but I'm a analog meets digital world kind of guy. So, everything on one level, basically.
So is it drums first or keyboards first and then drums when you're laying down the production work?
Both ways. I probably should go back to drums first because that's what I did in the 90s, which really worked for me. I was doing beats where I sort of like, okay, these beats are great and let's build something. But especially for remixes, I'm a very musical, kind of like a harmony guy. I need to figure out, which are the best harmonies for a song and stuff, so both ways to answer your question. I'm either on the piano, on the keyboards, or doing the beats, either way goes.
So as you're doing all that, are you also pre-mixing to the final all the way from start?
Yes, I am.
There you go, folks. You heard it from the man himself. We got it out of him.
Yeah.
Get yourself a Mytech console, learn Logic, play around with beats, make tons of mistakes, and you never know what quirky stuff comes out. And then you say, oh, that's it. Boom.
Exactly.
And you move it around, put it, and make your sequences a certain way. You make your own sounds, and there you are. Do you use outboard? Okay, so you're using digital and analog gear.
Yes. So I have quite some nice outboard and, collected over the years, some great keyboards and some great, especially like compressors, if you have some old, like vintage, really, really good compressors, they really do the job. Although I have to say there's amazing digital alternatives for it.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. We've all worked on a lot of that stuff. And when you hear the digital version, you're like,
almost like,
that's not far away anymore. Exactly. It used to be where you go.
Yep.
Now it's like, I can't really hear the difference.
Different. The very good thing is if you have like actually an analog console and like analog gear, you can really crank it up, which in the digital world sometimes is a tough thing to do, where you really go in the limits. And with analog gear, you can do that, unlimited basically, and really give something to your sound.
Right. When you're in the red. In digital, doesn't have a red. When
exactly.
It's red, it's like,
exactly. So, That's a great thing for the analog world.
So welcome to Mousse T's world. He's analog and digital. That's what I was trying to tell everybody. So that's living in the hybrid, basically. You're taking what you need from one side and you make it together.
Yeah.
Well, Mousse T, legend you are. I know there's going to be another massive hit come out from your camp. I know you will pull off another big one. You always do. And we wish you all the success on the roads that are coming up in front. And of course, we want you to stay safe. Keep doing what you do because we need you there to set the standards. Don't stop, brother. Don't stop.
Right back at you, man. Right back at you. I just can't wait when we get to hug again.
We will. We'll be doing the show like this for real.
Exactly. That's the plan. We just
we're gonna get it there.
High five.
We're gonna get high five. We're gonna get there to national TV. Let everybody know this. Next week, Nick Hawk's on Positiva Records from the Nick Hawk's coming on. Give you his story of all those records that they signed, Positiva Records, and how that house sound developed through the whole 90s. Wow. And Positiva EMI and all that world. And again, Mr. Mousse T, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Lenny. Thanks for